Welcome to the Daily's Double Shot.
Hi, I'm Reed Mayfield.
And I'm Catherine Tricker.
And we have a whole slew of stories for you today.
Starting off with some beautiful tones sung by the HusKEYS, an a cappella group at UW.
Next, we take a behind-the-scenes look into the Daily and see what goes into one issue of the paper.
We get an in-depth look at some student creations in the engineering department.
And we talk to a Suzallo library caretaker about a unique collection, an interesting and unknown resource for students.
And last but not least, we cover Washburn's campaign to ban plastic grocery bags in Seattle.
All coming up
on today's Double Shot.
Ooh, what is that? Chinese.
Yeah.
I'll see you there. Okay.
Hey Catherine, did you hear about the a cappella group's concert last week?
What's an a cappella group?
Let's see if the HusKEYS can explain that for us. If ever you encounter wisps of melodic voices drifting down the corridors of the University of Washington campus, trace the mysterious singing back to its origin, and you may find the HusKEYS, a UW a cappella singing club.
The HusKEYS are an a cappella group here at UW, and we've existed for about 3 years now. And we are just a group of people who love to sing a cappella music. A cappella choir is pop music without instruments, so the singers are creating the sounds of instruments.
What you say, that you only meant well, well of course you did. What you say, that is all for the best, of course it is.
The group consists of 18 members, equally split, 9 girls and 9 guys.
So we have the general soprano, alto, tenor, bari, and bass singers. That's the different voicing of the guys and girls. And then we usually have the soloist. And then we have a beatboxer, because that adds the drums to the song.
The talent doesn't stop at singing. They also perform choreography along with the songs.
We call it choralography, because we're singing and moving at the same time. It adds a little entertainment to the songs, act out what we're singing to the audience. And especially it's funny when the guys do it. We like to make the audience laugh, and that's why we do choralography. If you want to get involved with the HusKEYS, you should audition at the beginning of the school year during the fall.
They also have a page on Facebook. So if your iPod seems to be stuck on repeat and you're looking to broaden your musical horizons, check out the HusKEYS. It may just be music to your ears.
That was great. I'll have to catch their next concert.
I'll be there for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, we see what really happens at the Daily's newsroom after this short break. Reed,
Huh?
we're back from the commercial break.
Oh, right. Next up, we'll go behind the scenes at the Daily and see what really happens in the newsroom.
Monday through Friday, the staff of the Daily pump out newspapers to keep students up to date with campus activities, events, and administrative decisions. We may take this work for granted, but what really goes into just one issue of the Daily?
The story can come from two different places. It can come from a writer, which we hope it does, or it comes to us either in the form of a press release or something. It's really a judgment call. We know what we've covered in the past, we know what we covered recently, we know what we want to cover in the future. And I don't know, you really get a sense of what a good story is, where a good storyline is. You can't really describe it, at least I can't. It's just what you think will be of interest to people.
A normal day would be coming in, having our reporters send in stories by early afternoon, I'll sit down, edit with them. Sometimes in the newsroom or on the phone, we'll get a story cleaned up and I'll send it to the copy editors in the newsroom. They'll look it over, they'll send it to Lexi, the editor-in-chief, and the story will circulate throughout the newsroom, but I'm in charge of making sure that it's in on time and there's an appropriate photo with it. I coordinate with the photo editors and the design editors to plan out the page. It's mine and Bill's job to figure out if the page is going to look like, how it's going to turn out. We make sure that stories are appropriately positioned, and we have to figure out if there's enough content for the day.
I don't think very many people know that, outside the daily, that the stuff that we write, it doesn't just go from the writer to an editor like me and onto the page. It goes from me to an editor, to a copy editor, to my boss, to another copy editor, and then finally me again. We polish what we write, and it comes in raw, but in the end, it comes out really clean, I guess.
Deadline usually for the paper is 11 o'clock p.m. So we're supposed to have everything designed and into the printer by 11 p.m., which sometimes happens. Usually we're trying really hard. We've been good this week. It's going well. But once it's into the printer, then they have to print it and they set all of the presses.
Really, one of the hardest parts of the job and one of the most rewarding parts of the job is being news editor is helping the writers reach their potential, interview the right people, make the best possible piece they can. That's one of the things that I enjoy the most, is really helping the writer and getting a great article next to their byline. But in terms of challenges, yeah, that's the hard one, is anticipating something's going to come in and be ready and going to be a real great story, and then not having it pan out and having to compensate for that.
Communication here is probably the most important thing. I mean, we have to be good writers, and we have to be good at writing headlines or good at taking pictures, but communication by far is like one of the most important things you need to have here, and it's something that you can really learn a lot about communication here and what the right things to say are and when and stuff like that, especially when it gets stressful and we're on deadline. Some people like to get a little mad, get a little angry, irritated, and if you say the wrong thing, you can kind of get in an argument, but you gotta learn to say the right things. If you have a problem, learn how to approach the problem. It's just a lot of good things here that you learn that you can take into the the real world, I guess, per se, and take it with you after college. So stuff you definitely don't learn in the classroom.
So next time you pick up your daily, take a minute to think about the hardworking staff in the newsroom.
Isn't our school newspaper awesome?
It sure is. It's even more awesome that our school has a copy of every single issue.
Do you know where else I can get my hands on some first edition material?
I sure do. Let's take a look at UW's Special Collection Library.
Suzallo Graduate Library is known by students to be one of the most beautiful buildings on campus, a haven for quiet study spaces and coffeeholics alike. The library is also home to over 7.5 million books and various other student resources. What students may not know is that Suzallo has a unique hands-on resource available to all students. Introducing Sandra Krupa. Sandra is the Book Arts Curator for Suzallo's Special Collections Department. Over the last 46 years, Sandra has amassed a virtual treasure trove of first edition books, documents, photographs, pamphlets, and articles, including the world's largest book.
Special collections are the place where all the rare and scarce and valuable material is. Things that can't go out in circulation, things that are really fragile. Our collections here specialize in Pacific Northwest history. That's probably a no-brainer. Other areas are historical children's books, history of science, general history of the book, medieval manuscripts, books printed between 1450 and 1600, 19th century American literature, and we're one of the major holdings in the United States in that field. Many of those have never been reprinted, so you can't go to the bookstore and buy the book. You actually have to use the first edition. Part of our job is to educate people in the value of the physicality of the material. A lot of students imagine that everything's online now, and it's not. Part of my job is to show people the physical object and explain to them what they're getting from seeing the letterpress printed type, feeling the handmade paper.
Sandra was kind enough to show us one such book, The History of the World, printed in 1493.
So here's the centerfold. This is Nuremberg. This is the first illustration showing a hand paper mill. Off here in the corner.
Sandra also showed us one of her favorite pieces in the collection,
When I teach, I often use a book called On Being Ill, which is a short essay by Virginia Woolf about her madness. Leonard Woolf, her husband, bought a letterpress, very similar to this, with the idea that the methodical hand setting of type and printing would help her stay mentally stable. On Being Ill is the last book that Virginia printed in her front room. So she hand set the type, she bound the book, not very well, she wasn't a very good binder, and then it's signed by her. About 11 or 12 years after that book came out, she walked into the ocean and drowned herself. But just having that book in my hand, knowing that she had it in her hand and that she made it herself, is very moving to me. My job, I think, is to find the book, the one book in the collection that does that to you.
This resource is open to all students interested in getting their hands on an original piece of university, Seattle, or world history. Make sure you check it out.
I never knew students had access to so many valuable books.
Speaking of books, I need to go study.
Stay tuned for more stories coming up shortly. Haven't you always wondered what goes on in the mechanical engineering building?
Now that you mention it, what does happen in there?
Well, for starters, students build 3D objects in the Rapid Prototyping Lab. Let's take a look at what they have to say about it.
The campus here at UW Seattle is so large that oftentimes students have no idea of the amazing research that's taking place. Such is the case with the Solheim Lab. This lab uses and develops printers that build objects using a process called additive manufacturing. Mark Ganter, one of the professors here, led us into his secret lab deep in the heart of the mechanical engineering building for this interview.
You're standing in the Solheim lab. We have about 10 different additive manufacturing processes. We can print in a dozen kinds of plastic. We can print in about 20 kinds of ceramic. We can print in about 50 total kinds of powder, including metals. Any piece of geometry you can imagine, we can model. Additive manufacturing basically deposits thin layers of an object. So if you made a computer model of an object, it would be sliced into very thin layers. Then a process would build the object by producing each single layer at a time and then adding them up as a stack.
If you look at this, for the bottom cross section, you're just going to have a circle. For the next one, it's going to be a bigger circle. And then slowly, as you put all these cross sections together, you get an object. Hence additive manufacturing, adding it layer by layer. I was looking for a way to combine the analytical side with the artistic and creative side. And then I found Mark Ganter and got exposed to rapid prototyping and the ability to design something in 3 dimensions and then see your project come to fruition by the press of a button. There's always something new going on, whether it's trying out a new powder. The current powder we're messing around with is they're able to pour glass. It's a mold powder, so we can print out molds and then cast glass directly into the mold, which is something that nobody's really done before. So getting to create your own project, come in here and be creative while learning and doing some kind of research at the same time is a lot of fun.
This is probably my favorite piece that I've made. It's a Star Wars X-Wing. The assignment for this part was to create a moving assembly on the Stratasys Dimension 3D printer. So, well, of course, me and my partner love Star Wars, so we had to make something Star Wars related. So we made this X-Wing, and the cockpit lid moves up and down on a small hinge, and the wings also open and close. They pop open because they're spring-loaded and the latch just fits right in the side. We were given the limitation of only 3 cubic inches of material. This guy's a little bigger than that. And we wanted him to, really move and be very clearly visible, so we made it hollow and larger.
There's a project out of England, out of Bath, called RepRap. It's a self-replicating prototyping machine, and to date we've produced about 3 or 4 in this lab. One of the individuals has actually produced 14 more, so we're trying to breed them.
All the red pieces were built on the Stratasys, and then what the machine does is it can print all of these pieces again. So a piece breaks or you want to make another machine, you just print it on this one.
The green material that's printing is PLA, which is polylactic acid. It's corn plastic, and it's that same material that we all know and love in the forks that don't work very well. the kind that the dining halls have that melt in your soup or melt on your hot pasta.
So where does Mark Ganter think that this technology is going?
I want a Star Trek replicator. Everybody does. We'll get there.
That's what we're working on. Basically, we want to make one that's the size of your HP or LaserJet printer.
So we think you can build them for $350. The fact that it has the possibility to actually change everybody's lives. To have a machine like one of these RepRap Mendels at your house and being able to produce things out of a variety of materials that you get to choose, that's pretty cool. It's just crazy.
Want to know more about Mark Ganter, his students, and this world-changing technology? Head over to their blog at open3dp.me.washington.edu.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's pretty cool they can build real objects from a computer program and a printer. You know what else is cool?
The environment?
Good guess.
Let's check out WashPerg's latest campaign on maintaining the environment.
WashPerg, the Washington Student Public Interest Research Group, launched their sustainability campaign last week. The campaign, Sustainable You, focuses on reducing energy use and switching to renewable technology, especially on college campuses. Part of the sustainability campaign is the Ban the Bag petition. Seattle City Council member Mike O'Brien hopes to introduce legislation later this year to place a citywide ban on plastic grocery bags. WashPerg's petition is collecting signatures in support of this legislation.
We want to get rid of the plastic bags, like the grocery bags that we see everywhere. The problem with it is that it litters our environment and it clogs up a lot of water systems. It also doesn't degrade for hundreds of years, so it becomes a problem after a while, and we really want to address it.
Nearly all the cities on the West Coast have passed some sort of ban on plastic grocery bags, so we're just trying to make sure that we maintain a reputation as a green city.
In a couple of weeks, there's going to be some legislation introduced to the city to ban these plastic bags, and a lot of city council members are in favor of it. And right now, we just want to show them that they have public support.
We have a bag right here. It's these kind of things that we want to get rid of, and we hope to do that by petitioning. This will go to Seattle. We'll send a huge petition, hopefully. We also have a couple other events that are just kind of to raise awareness. Today we're doing the bag monster, and we just want to show how ugly it can be, and we want to, get it out of this town.
Amanda donned a plastic bag monster costume constructed from cardboard and plastic bags last Thursday in Red Square. Passerby proceeded to defeat the plastic bag monster by shooting it with Nerf guns in exchange for campaign buttons, flyers, and candy.
We were doing this just as an event to get some publicity, and it's because plastic bags are pretty much like a monster in the Puget Sound because there's so many there destroying the ecology.
The plastic bag monster was a way that allowed us to really grab people's attention and do it in a way that was fun and hopefully entertaining. It just allowed us to kind of take some of the seriousness out of a really serious topic, which is really hard to do in a lot of these campaigns.
A lot of plastic bags contribute to waste around the area, especially in the Puget Sound, and it's really harmful for a lot of animals who eat them, and they get sick because of it. And it's such a simple thing to do to help the environment a lot.
We also want to inform people that there are just simple steps that they can take in their day-to-day life to really reduce their impact on the environment and the carbon footprint.
It's not too much of an effort to just, use a reusable bag.
Using your car less, taking public transportation, walking or biking to your work or to the university. A plastic bag ban is essentially just trying to get people to change their daily routines so that they are more environmentally friendly and that they're more conscious of how their day-to-day routine really affects the environment.
For more information about WashPerg at the University of Washington, visit their Facebook page or www.washpergstudents.org/UW.
Well, that's all the stories we have for you this week.
I'm Reed Mayfield.
And I'm Catherine Tricker.
Thanks for watching this week's episode.
See you next time
on the Daily's Double Shot.